Patricia Bielmann has 25 years of experience as auditor and advisor for financial services companies. In addition to that, she has an in-depth experience advising clients in the finance area on complex transactions such as business combinations, issuance of debt or equity instruments, and many more. Over the years, she was responsible for the internal engagement quality control for several audit engagements. Integrity is not only the fundamental principle of the audit and advisory business. Professional knowledge and skills to ensure competent professional service was always a matter close to her heart. Accounting firms experienced the perfect storm in the past and will also do that in the future. With Patricia as my guest, we dig deeper, and when I talk to my guests, I'm interested of what is not obvious, what is not written in her curriculum, for example. I would like to take a look behind the scenes and learn about the human who impacts corporate integrity, like Patricia. I'm glad to have you here, spending the next few minutes together with us.
Corporate integrity, fraud, non-compliance, and cybersecurity. Would you like to understand the root causes, detect threats, and take measurements to protect the most precious assets? As a leader, you need to be prepared and stay actionable in the event of an incident. Sonja Stirnimann talks in her podcast, The Human Factor, Corporate Integrity Matters, to leaders and entrepreneurs who want to have impact, foster corporate integrity, and act as role models. As an international expert for corporate governance and integrity, entrepreneur, and independent board member, she knows the challenges. Let her inspire you.
Welcome back to this new episode of the podcast, The Human Factor, Corporate Integrity Matters. You might be a board member, a business professional, a corporate integrity leader, or on your way there. I'm your mentor and sparring partner when it comes to corporate integrity with impact. Founder of Corporate Integrity Concepts with the different formats for corporate integrity leadership, with the vision to protect and secure assets, reputation, and actionability. Yours and the one of your organization. Why? Because corporate integrity matters to all of us, and having Patricia as expert in external audit and quality, we will definitively learn more about this particular industry. So, Patricia, we haven't had the possibility to meet over the last few months, and I highly appreciate your time today. And as you know, our conversation will focus on you, especially on your team, your professional environment, and your own personal experience. So, thank you very much for having you here.
It's a pleasure for me. Thank you.
So I would like to start with one of the questions it's out of curiosity, because what is your personal first reaction when you see another accounting firm in the press confronted with cases like, for example, Wirecard or our evergreen Enron? Because I know you are a dedicated, committed former auditor, and I think there are some things you would like or could share with us also here.
To be honest, I was shocked when I read the Wirecard case, because it's something that you could easily avoid. Yep. Even so, to be honest, bank statements, cash is something that is easily overlooked as well. But for me, quality in audit was always the most important thing. It's not that you need to please the client, you need to please your environment. It's absolutely quality, and how you do it is crucial. And that's something that every auditor should take to his heart and make sure that we are not sacrificing on audit quality.
And you did, when I know about your background and exactly know what you also did over the last 2 decades. And you did a lot of this audit quality control work within your firm. So are there examples you could also share with us, not only the negative, you could maybe also the positive ones, but because I think it's so important that also a dedicated person takes care of that and takes on the responsibility, because I know sometimes you must have been the one also controlling your colleagues and peers.
Absolutely. It's on one hand, as my function as EQCR's engagement quality control reviewer, but on the other hand, also as accounting expert. And I often got calls late in the evening telling me, "Hey, we have a major issue. Our client is an IPO client. He's planned to go IPO the next day on the Nasdaq, and we need to solve the problem now. And please be generous. It needs to be done now." And then you always have to say, "Hey guys, it takes as long as it takes. It's not my mistake that you're so late, but we need to thoroughly look at it." And that was sometimes an issue with colleagues, that they didn't understand that you can just sign off without understanding really what's the business issue, what's the environment they are in, and what are really the context around it. And, to really understand the issue takes sometimes more time than getting to the solution.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that was always crucial if you are talking with colleagues, that they understand it's not something that you just take out of the drawer and it's done. You need to really thoroughly understand it. And secondly, you sometimes had clients that called my colleagues up, that said, "Hey, if we can't do it like that, then we might reconsider an audit tender."
Which is not a behavior we can accept, huh?
Absolutely. But, as EQCR, as accounting expert, sometimes I got from my lead partners, from my partner colleagues, the hint that, "Hey, Patricia, you need to find a solution, otherwise we're losing the client."
And we both know what it means. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was always like, "Hey guys, we can't sacrifice on quality. We have another Enron case. We have another Wirecard case if we are accepting it." And it's always to find the right words, to find the right answer, not to accept it. And I was always in the opinion that you have to be strict at the point. If it's not acceptable, it's not acceptable, and you say it. But at the same time, you need to help to find solutions. And sometimes it's just a small tweak that you need to take. And sometimes it's a strict no. But always to have the openness for your client, for your colleagues, to also explain them why it doesn't work, or why you should do it differently than what is proposed.
And I think it takes a lot of effort also to explain why it is not possible, isn't it?
Absolutely. And yes, because the colleagues, the clients, initially they don't want to listen to you. They just want to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's not up to them to find solution. It's up to you to find solutions. But you're a team. You need to work together to find the solution. And that's really the small line to walk, that you accept, hey, you need to be strict on the point, but you can be helpful in really helping to find solutions. And also to not to give in, yes, they are calling you late in the evening. They are calling you early in the morning. It's never during the day when everybody has a lot of time. And it's always behind the threat, hey, we are losing the client, and it's not possible to do the IPO, and we are missing a deadline. It's always that pressure that is there, and where you have to say, hey guys, sorry, we need to find.
We are now perfectly also within the topic and discussion right now. If you think back about the fraud triangle we have, also the auditors are under pressure, because we have this fraud triangle with the rationalization, with the pressure, and also the motive and the possibility to do so. And I think a lot of auditors, they really had to fight day by day with such kind of pressure from the client side.
I think, yes. Yeah. I think the pressure is even higher when clients have to hide something. And if they have something that they want to push through, I sometimes felt like either the pressure gets very, very high, or they are swamping you with information. that you don't see the clear point. What is it exactly? And there you just need to take your time, sort it out, and get to a decent answer. And sometimes it is like you have to tell them, hey, I can't solve it by myself. I need some other experts. It's also that you are honest to yourself and tell, or you are not the perfect man or human being. You need help. You need help from your colleagues. You need help from experts. And that's also something that auditors need to learn. They are expert in accounting. They are expert in auditing, but they need to be open to themselves and also accept that they don't know everything.
When I listen to you
get
right
help.
now, it's exactly a point I also see. They think they can solve everything, and it's not possible. It's always teamwork, and it's also an expectation sometimes raised by the client that one person can solve the problem. But it's always behind who needs to do that. And the pressure is given to that one person, maybe also the lead partner who really, And when we go back to our frame or our mechanism and also the rules we have about independence in mind and independence in appearance, is there anything you would like to share on that? Because I think that's an issue. That's also what I experience day by day, not only as a board member, but also when I support the clients on the other side. The independence in mind is so important, and it's easily harmed.
It's very easily harmed, and there are different things, different stakes that come in that really are in the heart of the independence. It's not only your financial interest. Basically, when you talk about independence, most of the people think about financial interest. Oh, you are not allowed to have shares and so on. But there are other things. It's like that you are too close to your client with the familiarity. And yes, now we have that the lead partner, the responsible partner needs to rotate every 7 years. But we forget about that there could be other people on the engagement that are there for much longer than 7 years. And I myself experienced that at the end, I was the only one that remembered. I was longer than 7 years on the engagement. And I was the only one that remembered issues and client agreements that we kept for several years, and not even the client or myself or our audit team was still aware of it. So it's the documentation that needs to be in place there as well. And I think familiarity is one bad thing, but can also help on the other thing, on the other side. But you need to be clear as soon as you have to lose something. For me, it was always, a hurdle to overcome. If I gave them an opinion 2-3 years ago, to revise it after 2-3 years later, and to tell them, hey guys, what I said 2-3 years ago was due to this and this paragraph, or due to this regulation, and now the world changed, and we need to change the view as well. And the client was always, how can you? To not give in, to tell them, hey, okay, we can accept that. And the other thing is really the intimidation. There is so much around it, so much pressure within the firm, within the audit firm, within your relationship with the client. And I also, it's not only as auditor, it's also as advisor that you have this intimidation. I had one client where I was advising that the employees, the team members of the client, I found they are not really sticking to the rules, to the quality that is required, and we got in a disagreement. And I informed the excom of the client, and at the end it was like, do you accept it as an advisor, or are they looking for somebody else? And I, for myself, said, hey, it's my reputation. It's the
Absolutely.
reputation of the firm. And if in 2 or 3 years, something happens and it comes out that it was us advising them, then it's coming back to us as firm as well. And so it's sacrificing the reputation. And there I said, fine, if you would like to work with somebody different,
just do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important that we really stick to our own integrity. It's about integrity at the end. And
absolutely.
As you have the pressure from both sides. You have it from your internal firm, because you really have to make sure that you can keep the client. And on the other hand, but also from the client side. So you're always in the middle and have to make sure that not only you, but also your team, you as a lead partner, you are mature enough, you can do that. But what about all the young assistants and seniors, coming to an engagement, not even sure, because they work for different lead partners. And what I saw in the past, some of them, they really don't want to speak up because they know that they fear the consequences if they do so. And that's also what we have seen in some of the scandals out there in the press. They are not heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand what you mean. On the other hand, every firm has some resolution process in place. And there, I think, team members, but also partners, are too little aware of it, and don't dare to really go into there. I had a couple of instances where I said, I'm of another opinion as the lead partner, or even as my colleague on the same audit engagement.
Mm-hmm. And
there was always, hey, we need to discuss that. And at the end, you're out there and you think, okay, what else can we do? And we had the luck to have a professional practice department where you can go and have really very senior partners that were sitting there that really had in-depth knowledge of auditing, but also understood the industry. And there you could basically lay out what is the issue, why is there a disagreement. And I always said, if you don't achieve an agreement there, as an audit, you always have the possibility to document the disagreement. But absolutely. I think as soon as you need to document the disagreement, then
you have a problem.
I don't want to be associated with that audit, with the firm or anything. Either you solve it or something is wrong.
Absolutely, Patricia. So I fully agree on what you are saying. What I just wanted to state here is that, a lot of young people, they are not yet there to do so. And we, as experienced old auditors, we have to make sure, that we can also build them up. That's what I would like to say, because they don't, they just don't know the mechanism. They know what is written. They know the processes, what they could do. But there are inherent pressures also from firm side. That's what I also heard recently. There's, hey, I have to leave because I just can't do that, because if we have lead partners not listening to what we are saying. And as you said, if you have to go the path of the documentation, what your opinion is against the one of the lead partner, you already lost.
I agree. But on the other hand, our ex-con, our lead partners, they need to have that tone at the top.
They have to, yeah.
If an assistant thinks that it's not right, I have found something, it's really crucial. I made the experience, or I knew about an assistant manager that left the firm, that basically left the firm, resigned, and at the day when he gave in the badge, he also gave a letter to the ex-con explaining why he's leaving, and he was leaving because of a case that he found was absolutely wrongly handled. And I think that's too late.
Absolutely,
you need to go to the ex-con earlier on. And, everybody has a whistleblower function nowadays. And I also think managers, assistant managers, even assistants, if they think there is something, they need to do the whistleblowing. And it's not to really say it's badly done, but it's also for protecting them. that they have the learning, that if they think it's not correctly done, that they have a position that they can discuss the issue. The whistleblowing should be the end. They should go up the hierarchy with the partner, with the ExCom, with the professional practice department. But if that is done, they need to have this whistleblowing function to really get their explanation.
How did you support the younger generation? You're not that old, but you're already middle-aged. But how did you support, or do you still support the younger generation to really speak up? Because it's still difficult for them, even though we have all the processes in place, like whistleblowing and everything. But, being in a huge firm, I think for a lot of them, it's not that easy, and they need to have some kind of mentor. So how did you do that in the past?
For me, it was always important that you have all the facts and circumstances on a piece of paper, that everybody has the same understanding. And for me, that was always crucial. So if I have an assistant or a manager that didn't agree, I always told them, hey, bring it to a piece of paper. Everything that you think are facts and circumstances, please bring it, describe it, and then come up with a reasoning why you think it should be different.
So the proper documentation and fact-finding.
What is your evidence? And once it's on a piece of paper, the counterparty, the lead partner that thinks it's differently, needs to do it as well.
Yeah.
And then you see where's the difference. Either there was a misunderstanding, there is a misinterpretation of the regulations, or there are some political reasons. And then this political reason needs to be tabled as well.
Yeah.
And as soon as you see, okay, due to this political reason, you come to a misstatement, to a wrong, then it's easier to handle. And also to support the assistant if he thinks he's right. For me, it's really crucial of having proper documentation. And also if the decision was wrong, if you have it documented, how you came to that conclusion, I think it's not as heavy weight that wrong decision than without documentation or just gut feeling decisions.
Absolutely. So we need we need proper documentation and also the fact finding, because talking about feelings and whatever doesn't help in that circumstances, not at all. So where do you see this entire part of corporate integrity when it comes to audit firms also for the next few decades? Because there are a lot of changes in place, and I also see that you post a lot also on LinkedIn with regards to that. So what are the trends you see right now for our business or our industry?
The audit industry made a big development in the past, and not everything went to the better, in my view. But you also have to see where they came from. When I was an assistant or a manager a couple of years ago, it was really that you got the strategy, and then you had to think about what exactly are you testing, why are you testing, and you documented it. Nowadays, sorry to say it like that, our assistants and managers are checklist Talibans.
Yes, and we used to think, isn't it? We had to think because we had no audit tools at the beginning. We did it on paper.
Yeah. Exactly, and they have a checklist. What are the audit procedures that they need to do? But they don't think why have they to do it, and is it the right testing that they are doing, or the result that they get out? Is it really what is asked in the checklist? Once I had a case that in a cash flow statement, an acquisition, it's very easy. You pay cash and shares, and the shares were included in the cash flow. Shares are not cash, so why is it included? And then I asked my assistant, why did you include the shares into the cash flow? It's not cash. But my checklist said I would need to list what is the shares, what is cash, what is liability, and so on. And that's the share price, the acquisition price. Why shouldn't I put it in? This checklist tells me. And I said, yes, but the checklist just tells you what is the acquisition price. It doesn't say what goes into the cash flow.
Yeah, it's the deep understanding of the transaction and the financials, Yeah, exactly what we did.
And I think there needs to be going back to the good old rules in letting people allow people to think and come up with their own judgment instead of just filling out checklists.
Patricia, that's what I already preached, I think 10 or 15 years ago. And it's not better. And I think, with all this pressure also coming to the audit firm from a client side, also the fee pressure, people think with the checklists they are safe or they protect themselves, but it's definitely not. You have to but I think we always have to step back and see, does it make sense? All these kind of transactions, also in the industry we are in the environment. And also, does it fit to the strategy? Sometimes I think
absolutely
financial statements need to reflect the strategy. Otherwise we have an issue. And also when we look at all the scandals, it was obvious and it could have been seen also by the investors.
I agree, but on the other hand, you have a company with an internal control system. You have internal audit. You have the external audit, and they need to take their responsibility to the public interest. Every failure of an accountant, every failure of an audit firm harms the public interest.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm not saying they are not responsible, but also, as an investor, I think you also have to be critical.
The Wirecard case, if you look at 1.5 billion in cash just somewhere out, but sometimes you get the booklet as annual financial statements that has 200 pages. And if I listen to analyst conferences, but also talk to investors, I feel like they only look at balance sheet and income statement. Nobody reads the notes, and nobody really looks at details. But there, I also think the preparer of financial statements, but also we as an audit firm, we need to make the next steps and make sure that the financial statements are readable, that they tell the story. If you are lucky, the investors have read the business review. Even it should be consistent back and front. Details are buried in the notes. It's there. We just need to find it. And I think that's really the next path to go, or way to go, is to make financial statements readable again, that not only the auditors are reading them, but also the investors. And there is a story behind it.
That's a very good also closing sentence from you. Thank you very much, Patricia. Is there anything you would like to add here which we haven't touched?
No, I think you really had the right questions for an auditor, and to what is integrity and what is our responsibility by the public interest, and where does integrity really play a role.
And also looking forward, for sure, I'm going to invite you again also for the deeper workshops with our teams, and also not our teams here, but also our Integrity Circle members, because I think there are a lot of people also interested in really reading the financial statements, and that's a session I would like to do and like to offer also for our people there. So thank you very much. And there's never enough professional skepticism out in the room. So thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you, Sonja. To you too.
This was today's episode of The Human Factor Corporate Integrity Matters with our guest Patricia Bielmann. Following the motto, corporate integrity secures and empowers individuals and organizations. Thank you for listening. My name is Sonja Stirnimann and I'm your host. Stay curious, actionable and role model. Take care and goodbye. Would you like to learn more, meet peers and getting qualified? So visit the website Corporate Integrity Concepts or Corporate Integrity Academy. Or do you think this podcast could be interesting for someone you know? Sharing is caring, and we are always happy to welcome your peers to our community. And if you like this episode, subscribe and don't miss any of the future ones. The show notes are, of course, enriched with relevant information, and your connection via any of the social media channels is highly appreciated and will be answered. Promised. And please do not forget, topics of your interest or interview partners are highly welcome. Just send me a note on any of the channels you know.